This week we're talking with Lindsay McAleer, who teaches 5th and 6th grade math at ASU Prep. Ms. McAleer, this is actually your second year teaching at ASU Prep, is that right?
It's actually my third year at
ASU
Prep, so I've been here from the start, from the very first year.
So I think that makes you one of just like 2 or 3 teachers that have been here for every year the school has been in existence, is that right?
I'm a veteran ASU Prep teacher.
Wow, that's great. Who are the others? Just like out of curiosity.
Mr. Miltier has also been here. He started at 1-2. Mrs. Strada has also been here, and Miss Sullivan, I think, were the only ones.
Wow, okay, that's great. Well, that makes you a wealth of knowledge for the history of ASU Prep.
Yeah.
Is this your 3rd year teaching, or did you teach prior to coming to ASU Prep?
This is my 3rd year teaching, so this is the only school I've ever taught at as well.
Okay, and I think for the 2nd week in a row, we're interviewing a Teach for America alum now. You came to us as a Teach for America teacher, is that right?
I did, yeah.
Okay, and where did you go to college?
I went to Cornell in upstate New York.
Okay. And talk about Teach for America. We talked a little bit about that with Ms. Walker last week, about your impressions of the program and why you decided to pursue teaching through Teach for America.
So I really liked the philosophy of Teach for America, that all students deserve a quality education, and all students have that, all children have that right. And in college, I was more interested in the social justice aspect. I didn't have a lot of experience as a teacher, but I always saw myself interested in making sure everyone has equal opportunities. And so I actually applied to Teach for America because I started teaching and tutoring in juvenile detention facilities in prisons. So it's kind of an ironic place to start. But what I saw there was why the people were there. And a lot of them, couldn't read. There was a huge education gap. So I thought, if only everyone had the opportunity to be successful, only if they had those skills, they could see that there are other options for them. And when you don't have those basic skills, you don't want to be in school necessarily because you're not good at it. And so I think that was a big push for me, was seeing that and seeing, what the worst product of a lack of education could be, made me really want to be a teacher and really drawn to the Teach for America program in particular.
Good, and I noticed what has always impressed me about you is that you really do take that extra interest in all your kids and making sure that they're getting the assistance, and that you have after-school tutoring that you do on your own time, and you really spend a lot of time with the kids. What are your thoughts about that in terms of making sure that the kids here, if they're a grade level or 2 behind, are getting that extra help? What are some of the things that you try to do to help them?
I think just, exposing them to more opportunities to learn the material. So, we only have 60 minutes of math every day. It's hard to learn everything, especially if you're coming in and you have gaps from the year before. So I have tutoring almost every day to help those students. I also work in Learning Lab with my group of students. Really, we're working on math and kind of getting those basic skills. And, I think for them too, they don't like math as much because they're not as good at it. And we had a conversation the other day, what do you like to do? It's all the stuff that you're good at. So I think, allowing students to have the opportunity to feel good at something and to feel successful and to feel like I know the answer to this question, by doing tutoring and by getting the extra help, they feel more confident in class and they really start to enjoy math and enjoy being at school because they feel like they're good at it for once.
I think along those lines, I noticed that you try to weave a sort of a sports theme when you're teaching math. Could you talk a little bit about how you do that?
Yeah, so I grew up playing sports my whole life. I played basketball, I ran track, volleyball, soccer, so sports were a huge part of my life. Went to games growing up, and I just saw that for me, from sports, I learned discipline. I learned how to work with a team. Even when they weren't my favorite people, we had to get something done together. And so that's really what I bring into my classroom. So I call my students mathletes. And so they're hard workers, they're team players, and they're problem solvers. And so really bring that in, that team aspect, that we're here together. And even in the classroom, some of you may get something right away, and some of you are like, what is she talking about? But the point is that we're a team and we all need to understand by the end of class and by the end of the year. So really working together to think about problems and, just working hard and having that discipline, coming after school for tutoring. And it's great to see so many of the kids, they know that they're struggling and they're like, I want to do better. And they really put in the extra effort, and that's on them. You can try as much as you can, but it's really them who are putting in that effort. And that's what sports taught me, and so that's why I kind of bring that into the classroom as well.
That's outstanding. I think that's a great approach. Along the sports line, you're also our head coach for our girls' high school basketball team. How's the team doing so far this year?
They're doing well. We have, I think we're 6-2 or 8-2, and the only games we lost, one of them was in a school cafeteria, so that was not a real game.
Yeah, I don't think that counts.
That does not count. And the other team, it was a close game, and we played them again. So we're doing pretty well. There's only 8 girls on the team. It's 9th grade girls, but they're a scrappy bunch. They are getting a lot better at working as a team, so it's really been fun to see their growth and improvement.
Good. And last question I always like to ask the teachers when I interview them, just to give people a better idea about who you are. You've already kind of talked about it, but what are some of the things that you like to do in your free time when you're not teaching?
I'm a big fan of sports, like I said, so I like watching sports. I like, being active and hiking and kind of exploring Arizona, because I'm from Seattle, so take advantage of the fact it's sunny here every day instead of rainy. So I just kind of like to be outside. I like to travel a fair amount. Haven't traveled as much in the past couple years, but it's always fun experiencing new cultures.
Excellent. Well, we are so lucky to have you at ASU Prep. You have an incredible future ahead of you and in fighting for kids.